Hey, welcome to Sports and Politics with T. I am your host, Tanya, and tonight we have made it back to Thursday night. Guys, we're going to have a great show tonight. Oh, do we have some good information to share? We're going to be talking about Michelle Obama and some things that are coming up in the pipeline about her, and also some reactions as far as what we talked about on Monday as far as that Tesla stock, honey. It is plummeting. Okay, so we're going to get into that as well. But listen, I hope y'all have had a great weekend and a great week so far. We have already made it back to the end of the week. Tomorrow is Friday, thank goodness. But I'm telling you guys, the weather, listen, I'm so glad that I'm just glad that this cold is going away, that we're getting some nice warm weather now, and you can actually do things now. So we are going to just enjoy that. Now, me being a homeowner, of course, the lawn has got to be taken care of. And of course, you got to do stuff like that around the house, which I don't mind doing, as long as it's not too hot. But other than that, I'm going to enjoy this beautiful weather. So, but anyway, I hope y'all are doing good. We're going to get into the first topic at hand, and we're going to talk about Michelle Obama. Well, Michelle decides, you know what? She wants to speak out about a few things, okay? Because if you really think about it, we haven't seen Michelle Obama since a little bit after the election. Because remember, she didn't come to the funeral for Jimmy Carter, and we didn't see her at the inauguration, which was in January. So it's been a minute since Michelle Obama has been out there. Now, like we talked about a month ago, there had been some rumors circulating that her and Barack was on the verge of getting a divorce. Well, some of those rumors have been debunked. And so, listen, I don't know what it is why people always want to draw up these rumors. It's almost like they want to see negativity. They want to see people just break up and all of that good stuff. But you know what? They're going to defy the odds. And I hope and pray that it's nothing that can't be worked out if they are going through some marital problems, because there's a lot of people that have problems in their marriage. But it doesn't mean that they're just going to just call it quits, especially after, I think they've been married almost 25, 30 years. So that would be devastating, especially to the Democratic Party. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at her podcast. Michelle Obama decides that she wants to do a podcast. And let's just look at this video, and we're going to discuss a few things about what she said during this video.
A lot of people have questions they want to know, especially when they see somebody of note with a platform who, by every measure looks successful. The first question is how? I think this podcast, first and foremost, gives us an opportunity to hear from folks. We're going to be taking, questions from listeners who are going through some things and just need a little advice. They want to hear from people in conversations, and folks are looking for a place where they can just they can hear stories. What I realize is, like, by sharing some of these stories, it always taps into something from somebody else. People, they want to hear some honest kind of conversation about how people are working it through. And we don't have all the answers. This show isn't about us being experts at anything other than the lives that we've lived. But what we do have are a lot of opinions.
Hence the name.
In my opinion, IMO. This episode is brought to you by Rivian and Pine Sol.
Well,
Wait a minute. Did she say Rivian? Wait a minute. Rivian is an EV car. That's an electric vehicle make. Huh. I'm sorry. That just kind of threw me for a loop when they said Rivian. I was like, okay. All right. Let's keep going.
I'm Craig Robinson, and you all know my sister, Michelle Obama, and we're doing this podcast together, and it's really exciting to be working with you on this project.
You know, some people react like, you're doing a podcast with your brother?
Why would you do that?
I know, really. But our dynamic...
I'm sorry, they look just alike. I had to stop this because I knew instantly when I saw him, yeah, they are definitely related. So
is so, in my view, unique. I think there are plenty of siblings who have great relationships, but, you know, I think when we think back to where that came from, I think about just the physical closeness that we had. I mean, we weren't wealthy.
Right.
And Dad was working class. We lived in the same apartment our whole lives and had to grow into that. And as a result, you and me, we were physically close growing up.
Remember when we used to share a bedroom?
Of course, that was our life growing up. We shared the same room until you went to high school, right?
That's right.
Well, let's first just recall how small the apartment we lived in. You know, it seemed like it was huge, but it was essentially 2 bedrooms. Right?
No, it was 1 bedroom.
Well, that little offshoot bedroom that Mom and Dad stayed in, you would consider that a bedroom.
But that was the only bedroom. The room we were in was actually the living room. And the living room what we called the living room was actually the dining room.
Huh. Okay. All right. So that's how small it was.
How small
we had
it
to turn
was,
it into something else. But the biggest room was always ours.
Yes.
And we were little, like baby littles.
Like 5 and 3.
The twin beds were head to head with like an end table in between.
And we had matching spreads.
Yeah, that Mom made.
She
were these
sewed them.
big, bold stripes, and the twin beds were up against the wall, and she had the concept of creating like these little padding boards.
Yes.
You know, she was so crafty, so she created these foam pads that she hung along the side to make them decorative, but to also provide us with a little cushion against the wall, which we thought was so cool.
I remember you had a bed guard because you were so little.
Yeah, I sort of remember that, yeah.
You still probably should have been in a crib.
I mean, maybe so, but yeah, I do remember.
You remember that?
You guys would tell me I'd fall out of the bed, start crying, get put back in the bed, and I wouldn't remember anything about it.
Any of it, and everybody else would be wide awake, and you'd be snoring.
I didn't snore. Now you're making stuff.
But then from there, we went to, and I'm trying to remember what age when our grandfather, Southside, built us this partition wall. So then we had our own bedrooms in that same room.
Yeah.
So it went from a one big room into 3 small rooms.
Yeah.
Your bedroom was on the right, mine was on the left. And then we had a common area in the front where Mom, once again, crafty, built us desks on each side where we could do our homework.
Yeah. I mean, you talk that was some poverty crafting, right? That's like
great.
Martha Stewart on a budget. But that wall was just, we were still sleeping head to head, but just on the other side of a wall.
I just want to kind of pause for a second. You know, listening on these stories, it kind of reminds me of when I was growing up with my siblings, because, you know, we shared, our home was small, you know, coming up, and we had 3 bedrooms, but we still shared a bedroom together, like me and my sisters. And just listening to this, it kind of is like, wow, to see where they started from to where they ended up in the end is like amazing. And it just goes to show you, no matter where or how you start or where you're from, that doesn't mean that you can't excel high in life. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty inspirational. I really like the story.
And it was special to me because I feel like that's where our real relationship began, because it's like we would talk for hours. We'd go to bed, we're supposed to be asleep, and we'd stay up all night just talking through that little partition.
We thought it was all night, but because we had to go to bed at 7:30,
right,
it was probably only
like
8:30.
Yeah.
But we talked till about 10 o'clock, and Mom would finally come in there. If you all don't go to bed, go to sleep.
But it was really sweet because I remember being able to talk to you even at that young age about anything, what happened during the day, the little drama in the outside world, just laughing all night long about nothing, making up silly games. It started that young.
Well, what's really ironic is that we were talking about how small our place was.
Growing up, our house, yeah.
And then look where we're doing this taping, in this big, beautiful
palatial
Airbnb. Got a little more room here.
No, who would have thought we'd be able to be in a snazzy place like this?
This podcast is going to be about you and I trying to let people in on some of the lessons that we learned as kids and growing up, and from Mom and Dad, but also from different teachers and coaches and things we've learned along the way. And let me ask you this: what is one of the lessons that you learned from Mom and Dad that really sticks out to you?
Well, when I think about what we're talking about now, our relationship as brother and sister, why we're so excited about doing this podcast, not because we love to talk and we got lots of opinions, but especially since Mom passed, this is a joint project that you and me have, and I think it's the first time we've actually worked together and helping people to understand where does that foundation come from, where you and I feel so comfortable with each other, and we have our whole lives where we can not only work together, but share what has helped to make us close.
Right.
And this is good too. I like the fact that they're so genuine. They're very just like normal people. They're not putting on. They're just being natural. They're just sitting there, just having a decent conversation. They're siblings, and it's just good to see. It's kind of like really relaxing. You know what I'm saying? It's this. I feel like it's going to be a very good show. I really do. And the fact that they're opening themselves up to the world. Probably some things they're going to share that we didn't know. That I'm curious to find out. What they're going to be talking about. So. This is I think a good move. Now let me say this too. A lot of people think that Michelle Obama is doing this because, now this is rumors, this is allegedly, that she's trying to set herself up for running in 2028. And I'm going to be honest with you, she is at the top of the list on the Democratic side right now. So, depending on how this goes, this could gain more popularity for her. And then again, it could hurt her depending on the outtake of how this show is going to be perceived. But, her popularity base is through the roof right now. So, we're just going to have to keep our eyes open, okay? And just kind of see how this is going to play out, okay? But let's go on to the next subject at hand. We're going to go with CNN. CNN had some, let's just say, some opinions about the show. And, we had some mixed emotions about what they felt. So let's listen in on some of their opinions. And then we're going to discuss this after this segment is over.
Obama Bros. How about an actual Obama? Michelle, the former First Lady, and her brother Craig Robinson are launching their own pod where they promised to save nothing but to provide plenty of experts, special guests, and opinions. And the people want to know, Michelle Obama, what is her future? Because last we checked, Democrats are in the desert, they're in the wilderness, and Michelle Obama, she is at the top of the pile. Choice for president. There's really no one else who is more popular than her in this party. What's she going to do?
I think she's living her best life. I think she's doing whatever the hell she wants, wearing whatever the hell she wants, putting her hair in whatever shape she wants it. Look, I think that I've always thought that the messages and the shape of a political party come from the people. And when you see those people that are doing impromptu protests, or those thousands and thousands of people that are showing up to see Bernie Sanders speak truth, people who are showing up to Republican town halls and holding those folks accountable, I think that that's where the future of the Democratic Party is going to come from. Folks who think that there's going to be some sort of magic bullet, some sort of magic cohesive message that drops like manna from heaven or from the mouth of Michelle Obama or Schumer or you name it, are wrong. It's going to be about the people. They're going to set the tone.
I don't think the Democratic Party has a problem with the messenger. I think they have a problem with the messaging. I think that people aren't buying what they're selling. People don't want open borders. People want law and order. People want jobs. They want economic development. And I think basically that's why President Trump won. And I think that's why we held the majority in the Congress. And I think that basically it's not their messenger, it's their messaging. People don't like their message.
Who are better at being the messenger and the message than Michelle Obama. I mean, she just is a better communicator than most people.
And I think people see her as incredibly authentic because she always is true to who she is, right? And I thought what was notable about the podcast description is it's not politics, right? It's about life, how you deal with life and bringing on guests who are helpful with that. And we live in a time that's very uncertain. People are scared. There's division. And I think there's a lot of need for authenticity from Democrats and Republicans.
I got news for Michelle Obama. Nobody cares. We need Michelle Obama to say something that is going to make us feel okay with how things are going right now. If I give Donald Trump credit for one thing, he completely deprogrammed the right. He deprogrammed them, he reprogrammed them to speak to their constituency in a way that moves the people. There's got to be somebody that does that for the Democrats. Michelle Obama is the most trusted voice on the left by far. It's malpractice if the people that are wondering and uncertain about the trajectory of this country don't get something out of her podcast. She's got to do it. Another lifestyle podcast.
She can't stay out of it. She can't
stay out of it.
She's making money and having fun.
We all are sort of all, it's like programmed to talk about how great she is and how smart she is. I mean, she campaigned a lot for Kamala Harris. She was a key speaker of the Democratic National Convention. Barack Obama was a key strategist for this whole thing that happened last year. And yet somehow Donald Trump still won. So I'm rethinking the premise of that she's the answer to the future, or that any politician is the answer to Democratic Party.
She's not a politician.
She's so good that Melania Trump stole her speech.
I'm sorry, what?
She's so good that Melania Trump plagiarized her speech, or do you not remember?
And you like
at the
Scott?
Republican convention.
Scott, you like Michelle Obama?
Yeah, I think she's fine, but just after the I thought she gave a wonderful speech as far as convention speeches go. I'm just looking at what happened last fall. The Obamas helped engineer Biden's ouster. They put in Harris. They ran the campaign. She campaigned for him, and it was a total failure.
Well,
I'm just wondering how good they really are.
I think people like her because
why she is staying out of it.
I think people like her
Because
because
she
she's
knows that
conducted
there's
herself
limits.
with great dignity,
And she will-
since she has left the White House, and I think people on both sides of the aisle appreciate that, even though that she's partisan.
A few years ago, my credit scores were so...
Okay, so there's some different outtakes on, what people are thinking about this. Like I said, I felt like this is probably more of a political move. And one guy hit it right on the head. He liked the authenticity of this whole thing. It's just good to see people just be real. There's no airs. And, we understand that, yes, Kamala Harris did not win. And, yes, Michelle Obama helped and, Barack helped. But, again, it really had nothing to do with them. It had to do with how Kamala, she didn't secure the border, and she didn't address kind of how she was going to make that better. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what made them lose. It had nothing to do with Michelle Obama or Barack Obama or really anybody that was campaigning for Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's just keep going.
So bad, I didn't even want to check them. Now I'm in the 800 plus club.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Okay, I'm sorry. Actually, that was the end of that. I apologize. So, yeah, so, it is what it is. You have to kind of look at what it is, and people are going to do what they want to do. Scott Jennings, he has a history with Trump. He loves Trump. He thinks Trump can do no wrong, and he's like God or whatever. But listen, they're going to have to get this straight. And I'm going to be honest, if the Republicans don't do what they're supposed to do, they're not going to get reelected. Well, he's not going to get reelected anyway. But they're not going to get another Republican in that seat. So as far as presidency. But anyway, let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is going to be about the Tesla. Listen, we talked about this on Monday. And remember what I told you. People are ditching Tesla. They are changing the emblems off the car, putting Honda emblems, Toyota emblems. One person was taking the tires off in the dealerships. I mean, they're destroying these cars. And now what we're finding out is people are being attacked. They're calling them Nazi people, and you're driving a Nazi mobile and all of this. So people are not wanting to be associated with that because of the backlash, So again, this is not good, So let's listen in on MSNBC talking about some of the backlash that Tesla is still facing and some of the outrage that people are going through.
By a Tesla dealership this weekend. If so, you might have noticed something. There is a growing protest movement around the country. Demonstrators in all 50 states full of energy, pointed signs, trying to hit billionaire unelected co-president Elon Musk where it hurts. The value of his car company's stock. Protest organizers and lots of just, everyday individuals have also been designing and printing out flyers to put on parked Tesla cars saying things like, sorry about your swastika, and the more direct, please sell your car. It seems like a movement that's definitely gaining momentum. There's online websites that are organizing these protests. They seem to be growing weekend to weekend. On Monday, after a solid weekend of protests, which was like the third or fourth in a row, the markets opened and Tesla's stock tanked. Down more than 15% on the day, down more than 50% from its peak a few weeks after the election. Now, all other things being equal, Tesla stock was due for a correction. Hugely, hugely overvalued. And that was before its post-election day spike when people snapped up Tesla stock because, well, Elon Musk was going to be running policy in the White House. And of course, that's going to be good for Tesla. Now the stock has come back down to earth. And it's really clearly starting to get under Elon Musk's skin. On Saturday, he claimed without evidence on X that an investigation of some kind had revealed that wealthy philanthropists, including George Soros, were funding the groups behind Tesla protests. And so today, Donald Trump offered Musk a government bailout of sorts.
Mr. President, do you think you buying a Tesla will boost Tesla sales and boost the stock?
Look,
Was that your goal?
I care about one thing. When somebody's a great patriot, they shouldn't be hurt. He's a great patriot.
Yeah, Donald Trump bought a car from his buddy, or at least he said he did. Who knows, right? Right off the makeshift Tesla lot they set up in front of the White House. What does this have to do with the American people and their interests, public interest? Couldn't tell you. When Trump was asked what to do about the people targeting Tesla cars in dealerships, here's what happened.
Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company.
You're either with the Tesla or you're with the terrorists. That's one way to try to stabilize an oligarch's business empire. The thing to understand is just how actually precarious the entire Tesla empire is. Listen to this. One way to measure a stock's value is to compare its price to how much money the company actually earns. The higher the price to earnings ratio, the more expensive, unrealistic a stock's price would seem to be. So, for instance, car makers like VW and GM have a price to earnings ratio of around 4. But according to recent data, Tesla's PE ratio is currently about 87, more than 20 times higher than GM's price to earnings ratio. You see the rest of the cars there. Tesla is still one of the most overvalued stocks on the whole market in terms of price to earnings. And it's because many people think Elon Musk is a unique genius. If he says they're going to win, they're going to win. But now investors seem to be not so sure. I mean, think about this. Tesla's customer base up until now has been the kinds of people that live in blue metro areas and are generally pretty liberal and generally hate Donald Trump. And now they hate Elon Musk. It's why his European car sales have just fallen off the map. And other nations and companies now have really good electric cars. There's tons of competition. Lots of options for consumers who don't like this dude. And there's kind of a lesson here. It's why you don't usually see CEOs running around, publicly spewing insane right-wing conspiracy theories, insulting foreign ministers, and doing salutes that look for all the world like Sig Heils twice. It's not great business. Musk thinks he's somehow past all that. But the anger and the protests are growing. And gold-plated chainsaws and dark MAGA hats may not be the moves of a business genius after all.
All right, guys, so that's all we want to kind of cover for tonight. My thing is this, again, it goes back to the backlash. I don't even know why people are shocked about it. I'm not even surprised because, you did something that was controversial, and so now people don't want the product anymore. So that's really all I'm going to say about that. And we're going to keep an eye out just to see how low these stocks are going to continue to plummet. Okay? But anyway, guys, listen, join me on Friday. I'll be back. We'll be covering the sports. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We're going back into the NBA, guys. We're going to cover more and more games. And we're going to be back on Saturday at 2 p.m. We're going to do even more because we got a lot of people joining the live on Friday night. And I was so happy to see that. So, so again, cover me on, or I will be covering tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Okay? And we're going to get back into the sports arena. All right, guys. Well, it's been nice, and we will see each other again tomorrow. If you enjoyed this content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you can, please hit the notification bell. That way you will always have an alert to let you know exactly when I'm coming on to YouTube. All right? Okay, well, everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the ESPN edition of Sports and Politics with T. Y'all have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.